the silence that we spoke about, our true nature, and the world of experiences, including our avatars, these two dimensions of one reality, the screen and the movie. Mostly when we set up on a spiritual journey, we have this because we don't know knowingly the screen of the movie, we don't know knowingly the background, the consciousness of our experience. Everything seems to be happening in this world of appearances. All we know apparently is the movie and us in the movie. So somehow this me might be not happy or miserable, or has this deep intuition that there must be more than the movie, like in the Truman Show. This guy, right? Eventually he gets a glimpse that there must be something outside of this world. So we start to look, but we come from this point of view, from this deep conditioned conviction that it's me, the person, who is gonna find in this movie, in time and space, that I'm gonna find what I'm looking for in the movie. In time and space, there will be a moment in time where this miserable avatar is gonna get enlightened, is gonna break free from ignorance, maybe, if we have learned non-dual vocabulary, terminology. And there is this point in time and space where then I'm gonna be free. And yes, most practices have the tendency to reinforce this idea that this person gonna get freedom in some future event. It's like to use the dream analogy, maybe. When I'm maybe a new meditator or yogi or a Kriya yogi, and I go on retreat, and maybe 1 year I'm gonna meditate so hard until I'm gonna be enlightened. And on the first night of the retreat, after a whole day, I'm exhausted from meditating so hard, and my knees hurt and my back hurts, and I crash. Too bad. And there in my dream, I dream of my successful endeavor of enlightenment, meditating my way to enlightenment, and I meditate and meditate and meditate, and every day I get closer, a bit closer, a bit closer to my enlightenment, and then suddenly there is this moment I'm sitting in meditation, and I wake up and I see through the illusion of me being the separate person who woke up, is the question. Did this dream meditator got enlightenment, or am I waking up in bed in my retreat center or in the monastery? It's like, oops, whoa, it was just a dream. I thought I am this person in the dream. And now I found enlightenment. I woke up. But who woke up? Well, me in bed, finding myself in bed, and this character, my avatar in the dream, was meditating so hard, and that's where the analogy breaks. If it happens here in our waking dream, I might wake up and then have this great belief, oh, I woke up, right? Now I am enlightened because I had this glimpse, whatever that is. Let's forget that for now. But just to see, we have to first really be clear that there is no freedom, no enlightenment, no happiness, no nothing for the dream character outside of the dreamer, the one that is truly experiencing, the one that is truly the essence, the reality, the consciousness of that dream. Without the consciousness of me lying in bed and dreaming my enlightenment as a separate person, it's never going to happen. And when it happens, nothing happened. I just wake up. And the consciousness is free to be the consciousness it always was. What happened in time and space to the hardcore meditator was just a dream. And no matter how much in the dream was, how much effort, how much trying, how much changing, how much anything was happening, the freedom, the happiness, the peace was already there, waiting for the dream character as its own nature, dreaming the dream. That's why our emphasis is so much on this understanding. Because even practically speaking, I'm not against practices at all. We just have to understand for whom the practices are. The practice, any spiritual practice, is not for the shared beingness, for our essence, for our true nature, for pure consciousness. It's already whole and complete. It's just outside of time and space, so to speak. It's already there. It's just waiting for us. But there is this stickiness, this attachment to the belief and the feeling of being this character, this dream character on retreat. And just this attachment, this belief, and those feelings give the power to the idea that there is somewhere we need to get to. So all practices, if they should have a meaningful power to come to this recognition of what I already am, shall be just a support for the body and the mind to stop grabbing, to stop attaching any of my experience, attaching it to this illusory idea that I am this character exclusively, that this dream character has a life without the dreamer, without consciousness. So practices in that sense can be useful to so to speak, create space in the mind, space in the body. As Leslie described, when it's so heavy and I'm not really firm in my understanding, if my mind is very heavy, if my body is very heavy, when there is no spaciousness in me, then the thoughts and the feelings and the perceptions very likely will have the power to convince me again that I am this separate person. So I cannot live the understanding. It's not living understanding, it's not experiential understanding, because I fall again for this Maya, for this illusion that I am exclusively this person, and whatever happens to the person is the only truth, the only reality. So if something happens to the person, any other friends, this is very dramatic and very real and very problematic and very serious. While when I at least have the space to apply the understanding that we learn in satsang or unlearn in satsang, unlearning all these attachments, this spaciousness gives me the space to apply the understanding in the sense that I can follow that which is true, which is matching understanding, and not following fear, ignorance. So practices can help in that sense to, it's like the house that I used as an analogy that is full, such a mess and full of boxes and garbage and everywhere. It's going to be very difficult to find anything in it, to recognize the beauty of the house. In the same way, when I'm such a mess and there is such a load of conditioned belief, conditioned feelings wearing me down, so to speak, it can have this problematic effect that I cannot recognize, remember that I am already what I'm looking for. Or, and that's I'm seeing more and more, so this is evolving also, and there is no absolute truth, of course, what I'm saying. There's no right or wrong. It also always very much depends on the character, where my mind is at, where my body is at, how my understanding is, what my maturity is of my body and mind. So there's no one size fits it all, right? But what I'm seeing also more and more is in so-called non-duality, which we more and more drop actually here, this term, because it's also loaded with many things now. We cannot dismiss the fact that thousands of years of traditions had the same insight in a way. I wish I would just say, okay, we don't, it all doesn't matter, and you are what you are, and whatever, however your mind looks, your body looks, it doesn't matter. It is true for someone who is firmly rooted in this understanding, and nothing can shake you. But as long there are lurking doubts of this understanding, as long there are feelings that have the power to grab you back, as I am suffering, I am depressed, I am sad, as long those have that power over you, it will be, in most cases, difficult to hold on to the understanding that we experience every time, hopefully, in satsang. That which, those glimpses, that clear seeing, it's like, yes, I know I'm not a separate person. Nothing can harm me. I am beautiful. The world is beautiful. I love everyone. And it's bursting out. It's like, it's never going to change again. It's so my experience. Wow, I got it. And then next week, maybe something else happens. To sustain the truth and love, to live the recognition, to live the understanding, we cannot dismiss that a certain quality of body and mind is supportive, not essential, not needed for the recognition. The power of an authentic teacher or the grace of the universe might bring that glimpse, might bring that understanding about, but to live it, usually, and that's what you're saying, exactly. It's our practice. We come together here week by week and we kind of immerse ourselves in this understanding and in the underlying silence, which is doing the main work, as we know, so to speak. And it's in a very subtle, very magical way, I would almost say, in a secret way, is our minds and our bodies are benefiting from it because they're maturing in this understanding. There comes more clarity, more space, more sattva into the mind and also into the body, and then it's easier and easier and easier to apparently not lose this understanding, this happiness and peace and love that comes from it. So depending on the body-mind, practice can be a good support to lessen the load of vasanas, of conditioning, of heaviness, which makes it easier when I'm not 100% sure, firmly sure that the sun is somewhere there behind this fog. I might rather have sometimes a bit of a thinner, foggy environment, a bit of thinner clouds, so sometimes I get this sunshine glimpse in my experience, which will make it easier then to kind of move on and have faith in the sun, in the understanding that I hopefully authentically remembered, recognized, realized in satsang. And then they go together. No? So in that sense, practice is okay as long we understand that the practice is always to help the body and the mind, possibly first to really get a clear glimpse of understanding, and then much more important often to kind of be able to live that understanding, to sustain that understanding, to make it my living experiential understanding. and kind of the mind, and that's our way here, as you know. We go the direct path, so we go straight to the heart of the matter, we go straight home, and from there we let this understanding, kind of the perfume of it, transmute in a way, change the body and mind in an effortless, very subtle way. But that is not, so to speak, for everyone. Many will insist on a practice and they might not come to our meetings. But so that many go for 10, 20, 30 years of many practices just to prepare the mind for that recognition and then for living it. So there's the progressive path, right? As it's called always, that prepares you for that one big bang. And then because maybe you have been progressively purifying the body so deeply, like in many spiritual traditions, that there is very little conditioning left in the body mind, one big recognition then may has a much deeper sustaining power, so to speak. You will not forget so easily anymore because there is very little load left. But still, and that's my experience very often in the yogic world or in the meditation Buddhist world, even when this big bang comes, without understanding what that means, who had this big bang, like in the dream story analogy today, even when I get that huge glimpse through the practice, often the clown, right, as I call it, comes straight in. It's like, oh yeah, now I got it. Now I woke up. Now I'm enlightened. My practice has fulfilled. And then I start straight away and build a website and go out and tell everyone that I am the awakened one. The idea, the belief in the reality of duality, in the reality of a separate person apart from consciousness is so deeply rooted. The idea that I am this body exclusively is so deeply rooted that in the vast majority of cases, even the biggest samadhi does not uproot this ignorance of me being this person, me being the one that I have practiced my way now to this big enlightened moment. And because the me remains, the separate me remains, then we have an enlightened person, and then we have a problem.